This afternoon, you may be seated.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Boland. You have an opportunity this afternoon to hear a tremendous example of the power of the Word of God of changing lives. Pastor Brian Cole is here this afternoon from Drummond, Wisconsin, where he's the senior pastor of the Oaks Community Church. He and his wife, Marcia, have 3 sons. Brian's favorite part of ministering with the Gideons is making God's Word available, sharing the good news of the gospel. The Lord is using him in many, many ways, in prison ministries, motorcycle ministries, family and addiction counseling. Would you join me as we welcome Brian Cole and hear his story?
I was seeking purpose and reason for life when I was 10 years old. I had a father who was a brutal man, and every time he would beat me down, he would remind me what a loser I was, and that I was a nobody and nothing, and I'd never amount to anything. And I started believing that because I heard it so much, not only from my father, but because of all that, I was acting out in school, and the teachers would tell me the same thing, and my mother would force us to go to church, and pretty soon I'd hear the same thing from the leadership in the church, also telling me at the end of that, and you're going to hell. So I started acting out. So I was seeking somebody to just accept me in life. And the enemy certainly makes a way when we lose track of our identity in Christ. And he made that way through some older kids in the school next door to the elementary school who would come out in the little tree line between the schools and smoke their cigarettes. And one day they called me over there, and I went over there. I thought it was going to get beat down by them guys too, but I was used to it. But instead they handed me a cigarette. And they started talking to me. And they weren't calling me names. They weren't ripping up my football cards and my Sports Illustrated magazines. And, well, I was seeing approval here, acceptance here. And eventually that led to another cigarette the next day and another cigarette the next week. And pretty soon that led to marijuana and pornography at the age of 10. And then I found out these guys were into something called Satanism, and I didn't understand what that was. I just wanted to do whatever these guys were doing and be involved with whatever these guys were involved in, so I got involved with that. And when school let out and during the summer, I hung out with these guys as much as I could, and one day they asked me to sacrifice a cat during a ritual. I said, no, that I won't do, because I remember the only thing I loved in life besides my mama was animals, and I wouldn't do that. So they said, well, he demands blood. So they made me cut myself for blood, and that ended up becoming an addiction of 33 years. So slowly things got worse and worse and worse, and I hung out with these guys more. I was no longer being bullied at school. I was the bully because people knew who I was, and I hung out with these guys, and they would put people in check when they saw them messing with me, and I started becoming the very person I hated the most, and I became that bully. By the age of 14, things downgraded so bad with different harder drugs and pornography and all this, I finally got arrested at the age of 14 for bringing a bunch of drugs into school. From the age of 14 to 18, I was in group homes, foster homes, shelter homes. They ran out of places to put me and threw me in 2 different mental institutions for a year and a half, and eventually I went to Lincoln Hills Boys School, which is the teenage prison in Wisconsin, until I aged out of there. And I didn't mind being in those places. I had more drugs and access to almost all the places were co-ed, so I had the things I wanted anyway that I couldn't have at home. Eventually I tried, when I aged out of the system, I tried the Army, and I got kicked out of there, and my hatred for people and for authority just grew and grew. I ended up getting involved in a federal sting operation in 1984, robbed 250 homes in 6 months, got 10 years in prison. And it wasn't until that time where I became a dabbler in Satanism to all in. I sold my soul to Beelzebub, and all I had was 24/7 in the prison to be able to memorize rituals and learn about this stuff. It's what I became known for. Oh, and that's what I did for 10 years. When I got out, I started my own satanic temple in Chippewa Falls called the Tower of High Sorcery Camp. And between the year I was released there, 2 years later, I did a couple 8-month stints for cutting the bracelet off my foot and leaving. And eventually, the drugs got so bad, I got caught up in crack cocaine. My mind became crazed. I ended up getting in a three-way love triangle, and I shot a man point blank because he messed with my girl. I received 18. He lived. He received 18. I received 18 years in prison, 12-year state sentence, 12 years probation for that. Did 10 years on that. Got out, went right back into the drugs. This time, methamphetamine, something I said I would never do. And the last 6 years that I spent in prison, during that bit, I didn't do nothing but pump iron, man. I came out, I was a 185-pound rock, and it just added to my personality and people being afraid of me. And within 8 months of smoking meth, I went from 185 down to a 135-pound skeleton. It worked on me that fast. I was to the point in my life, I ended up losing a brother on my neck, tattooed on my neck, Eric. I turned him on to meth. He became a meth fiend. We were out 6 days and nights one time on meth, and I brought him to his new apartment. His parents and family had just moved away, and he fell asleep on a mattress that we put too close to the heat register, and he burned alive. At that point, I just didn't feel like I belonged anymore. And I attempted to take myself out by overdose and just use so many drugs I would just die. And I almost succeeded on 3 occasions before my final arrest. The final arrest was in 2018, and got caught for running a drug house, me and my new wife. And so here I am, 44 years old, spent 27 years in prison up to this point, didn't have any purpose, but I knew that something had to change. I was probably going to spend the rest of my life in prison, and I knew it was drugs, so I'm like, I'm going to self-help myself off drugs, and found out there was a drug program in the county jail called Almond Tree, and it was a faith-based program. Well, I wasn't going to go with a bunch of Jesus freaks, right? And I'll just self-help myself. But the Lord pushed me, man. I didn't believe in Jesus. I didn't believe in the Bible. It was another mythology book like the other ones. And boy, I hated you people. You people putting all them Bibles in the jails and prisons and stuff, man. So I went into you had to have a Bible to do the homework in this stuff. So I didn't want to be seen with one. I went into the library by myself one day and found one of these little pocket Gideon Bibles and stashed it down my pants, went back to my room, put it under my pillow. And after they'd locked down at night, I would pull that out and fill in the blanks on my homework. The homework was all fill in your blanks with Bible scripture. And pretty soon I came across a verse in Psalm 51:7. It says, "Purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean. Wash me and I shall be whiter than snow." And it tripped me out because it was word for word part of the cleansing rituals we perform in the occult on a daily basis. And I'm like, what is that doing here? Well, then I started justifying, right? Well, paganism was around long before Christianity. They stole this from us. But it started me reading this instead of just opening it up to fill in the blanks. And because I was reading truth, the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And well, what is the truth? Well, it wasn't all that occult stuff. It wasn't the sunnum bonum. It wasn't the knowledge and conversation of holy and guardian angel. It wasn't nirvana. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and life. I'm not one of many ways. I'm not some way. I am the way. And that truth set me free on January 22nd, 2009. I had a lot of blanks to fill, and this Bible filled my blanks. I tell you what, I've trashed thousands of these things in the county jails and in the prisons that I've been in. But all it took is one well-placed one in the county jail that I was in. And I will be eternally grateful for whoever it was that placed us in the jail. And ever since then, I've been out for 12 years in June. I've been saved for 13 years. And as you heard, I'm a pastor. He made me a pastor not even 2 years out of being out of prison, man. Made me a youth pastor. Oh, some of the people left the church, you're like, you put who with our kids? Right? But God has better plans, man. I've been senior pastor of the church up in Drummond, Wisconsin for 5 years now. I've been part of prison ministry for 12 years. Been on the road for about 12 years now. I've been honored to my second international convention, and I've spoken at so many Gideon conventions. And I tell you what, man, I appreciate you people so much, even though you make me wear this stuff up here. Very uncomfortable. I just found out today that it has pockets. I always thought they were sewed shut or something. You'll just rip it. Wow, I got pockets. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I will see you on the other side of eternity. Thanks for getting me there. God bless you.